tem sol, mas cheira a lua, quando nasce a madrugada sorrateira e o primeiro elétrico da rua faz coro com as chinelas da ribeira. Se chove, cheira a terra prometida, procissões têm cheiro a rosmaninho. Nas tascas das vielas mais escondidas, cheira a iscas com elas e a vinho. Um cravo numa água furtada, cheira bem, cheira a Lisboa. Uma rosa a florir na tapada, cheira bem, cheira a Lisboa. A fragata que se ergue na proa, a varina que teima em passar, cheiram bem porque são de Lisboa. Lisboa tem cheiros de flores e de mar.
Of the phenomenon of gentrification, which is not just touristification, but it's also retail gentrification.
So I'm Luís Mendes, I'm a geographer, professor, a researcher.
It was a retail structure in Rua do Salvador, one of the most...
And I dealt for more than 20 years with the subject of gentrification.
Where I passed my childhood, when I was 10 years old or less.
Lisbon has always been a touristic city, okay? But in the last 20 to 10 years, the phenomenon is really increasing really fast.
I came here with you not because of that, because the house where these workers are working, the 14, was a house where there was a case of real estate bullying. Well, after all this very intense urban change, there is quite difference in terms of power between landlords and tenants, right? And 2 adults and 2 children live there, the family of Carla Cunha. And one day, in a Saturday morning, what they did was that the landlord came, they were out to buy some groceries, to go to the grocery store, and he took the lock, he closed the electricity, the water, and the gas. We have different cases all over Lisbon where landlords took the stairs, you know, and people live there, or were violent with the mailbox and took the correspondence from the tenants, things like this. Okay. So this street is the typical touristified street of Alfama. It had hundreds of inhabitants, and now it's completely empty of inhabitants, and it has a lot of Airbnbs. A lot of evictions took place. This is a paradigm of touristification, gentrification, or gentrification through touristification.
Não, eu dou, e depois para mim, quando eu comigo já não tenho isqueiro. Agora fico logo assim.
Eu tenho um amigo que
Os isqueiros e as canetas, vou sempre a ver onde é que vou pôr. Como não tenho bolso, desce logo aquele.
Então vamos começar a nossa pequena festa de culturas. Esta festa chama-se Festa e Culturas número 2, porque já fizemos uma. Isto tem a ver com um projeto que a Associação do Património e da População da Alfama está a organizar, que se chama Alfama Hoje. E Alfama Hoje porquê? Hoje a Alfama não tem as características e a vivência que tinha há uns anos, devido à lei dos espejos, devido à turistificação e à gentrificação que o bairro está a sofrer, e portanto nós achamos que a Alfama hoje se justifica, porque a Alfama precisa de ter pessoas a morar no bairro, porque neste momento ninguém tem dinheiro para poder pagar as rendas como elas estão hoje, e portanto se as pessoas vivem aqui é importante que também mostremos a sua cultura, a sua forma de estar, nós vamos ter aqui, claro, portugueses, a nossa cultura portuguesa. Vamos começar com acordeão, com música de acordeão, toda a gente conhece. Desfrutem deste bocadinho e bem-vindos à nossa festa, porque isto é para continuar noutra altura. Venham sempre. Vamos começar. Eu chamo-me Maria de Lourdes Pinheiro, tenho 68 anos e sou Presidente da Direção da Associação do Património e da População de Alfama. A nossa função é preservar, apoiar e defender o património e a população do bairro de Alfama. Eu tive várias tarefas, vários trabalhos, um deles foi ser eleita Presidente da Junta de Santo Estevão antes das freguesias serem extintas. Fui autarca local, é assim que se diz, com o cargo de Presidente de Junta.
Alfama.
Esta é a Rua dos Remédios.
This is Remédios Street.
É a rua mais larga da Alfama, é a rua que o trânsito circula para dentro, para o interior, e também é a zona onde tem mais prédios apalaçados e prédios maiores. E vamos ver ali algumas barbaridades daquilo que estão a fazer ao bairro. Estás a ver este número 63? Era uma leitaria de bairro. Toda a gente vinha para aqui tomar o pequeno almoço para saber as novidades e era para aqui que vinham. Hoje não há essas leitarias de bairro, não é? Esta questão, esta foi mais uma coisa do turismo. Olha, mas isto já foi várias coisas, porque isto está sempre a abrir e a fechar, a abrir e a fechar. Só teve muito movimento na altura da Dona Luísa com a leitaria, quando era a leitaria. Tu entravas aqui, era um cheiro a leite, e depois a Dona Luísa fazia bolinhos, partia as fatias, a gente comprava os bolinhos feitos pela Dona Luísa. Vamos continuar por aqui, podemos subir este ou subir aquele. Este beco é muito bonito, sim, para ela filmar, acho que sim. Este beco, como ainda tem moradores tradicionais alguns, não muito, mas assim mais velhos, por exemplo, Serafim, Dona Lourdes, mora aqui mais gente, então eles mantêm o Ser António, assim, mantém os vasinhos, tomam conta dos vasinhos e isso. E depois com as roupas penduradas. Mas isso era assim em todo o bairro, quase. Deixa eu ver aqui, o Serafim está em casa? Ó, Serafim! Olá!
Serafim.
Ó, Serafim! Então, amigo, como é que vai isso? Estás bem? Olha, tomaste banhinho, vieste... Está bem. Continuas lá para o centro? Vais todos os dias lá ao centro ou não? Vais para o centro?
Chega para lá, faz favor. Eu estou
Para ela ficar na
fotografia.
Olha, e também se chama Lourdes.
São Lourdes. Lourdes Neves.
Mas o Serafim também foi um ativista cívico aqui neste bairro.
E ferranho.
E daqueles só parou porque caiu e não pôde mais fazer nada. Ela é estudiosa, é antropóloga, está a estudar. Isto é para o trabalho dela de fim de mestrado. Eu ando assim a passear um bocadinho com ela, a contar-lhe as coisas do nosso bairro, não é?
Estamos pouca gente agora.
Bom estudo.
Tchau, Serafim, fica bem, está bem, amigo? Fica bem. Até logo. Dona Lourdes, até logo. Fique bem. Até logo. Então, e esta rua, eu lembro-me dela cheia de gente, as pessoas vinham para a rua conviver uns com os outros, era tudo cheio de flores também. E neste momento, olha o Barriguinhas! Olha ele! Estás bem? Ouviste ontem a chamar um Barriguinhas? Era eu.
És tu.
Quem é que te chama Barriguinhas?
És tu,
Então,
a única.
olha, a tua companheira está melhor? Ainda bem. Este deve ser dos poucos moradores que ainda estão aqui. Não dá para nada.
Deve apanhar ar. Sozinha.
Vá, vamos andando, vamos caminhando. Estas são algumas das nossas heranças. Da minha herança.
Hi, I'm Susana Domingos Gaspar. I'm a choreographer and I live in Alfama. We are going to do a visit tour to my neighborhood, my recent neighborhood, because I'm not from here. Well, the tram, it's like crazy stuff. We are thinking about creating a movement to fight for it, because the 28 electrical tram, it's like the only transportation to my neighborhood. And sometimes we have little children and they don't want to walk from there here. And also we go with the shopping stuff. And there's a lot of old women that cannot make this path. And it's a really problematic thing because tourists enter in Martim Muniz, they pay €3 and they go all around the city and then they go out and they come again. And when we go in the tram, all the seats are occupied. And sometimes all the electrical is occupied and they don't even stop to take us. Yeah, so I'm always asking tourists to stand and it's a complete conflict. So it's like, I live here, people. So in the pandemic, when I came here, I tried to go around the neighborhood and it was so beautiful experience because there was no people, no tourists, no activities for tourists. Everything was closed. You could hear the resonance of sound around the neighborhood. And as it has like a strange architecture, it was very nice sound.
So now we are entering Bairro Alto and we're in. Hello, I'm João Centeno. I live here in Lisbon since I'm 0 years old. Me and my friends, when I was a teenager, we used to come to Bairro Alto a lot to drink. But Bairro Alto, what I know more about it, it starts with my parents telling me stories about it. They used to come here when they were my age. And the difference from what the night there was to now is that you couldn't drink outside of the bars. This is my starting point for this area, because now Bairro Alto, as you may know, it's mostly known for its noise at night, and people from here complaining that they can't sleep. There's loads of people on the street because You can drink on the streets. People go to the bars, pick up drinks and go to the streets to talk and blah, blah, blah. And that's why people can't sleep. When my parents used to come, it was not allowed, so it was better for the people who used to live here or still live. I used to live there on that building, over there with the Fado house on the ground floor. And we moved in because we thought, like, it was a cheap rent and there was still the COVID happening big in Lisbon. So the bars were closed. So we thought, okay, there's not going to be bairro alto like it used to be. We won't have so many noise, blah, blah, blah. What happened was we had some good times here for like 6 months, like no noise, everything was calm, blah, blah, blah. And, but after that it was kind of not a train wreck, but it was like downhill from there. Like the bars opened and many nights that I couldn't sleep. For the first 6 months, people were like happy walking and it was like a completely new neighborhood all over again. And when it started to go downhill, I could see people's faces in the morning, like opening like the doors and like it's all over again, like the trash, the smell and everything like that. And we rent it without having a contract. So because this, of course, is a house for Airbnb, for tourists. But since Lisbon didn't have tourists back then, they rented it for like a price. It was 550 euros. It was considered good by the time. But after the tourists came, they told us like 1 year after, oh, you have to go. I'm walking through this street because I think it's a good street to demonstrate how it's now and like full of bars and like everything is a competition in prices. Why does that annoy me? Like when I go into a place, I go to a place because I like to be in there. I chose to be here for a reason, like, and here it's like people don't even care if they're here or there. Just go because you want a cheap beer. You don't like create histories when you go somewhere. And now I like to just meet people and have a small talk and laugh a bit. And these bars here, because there's so many, you can't like really have a relation with the people who work and understand more why they're working here or not, and know more about their lives. Because there are so many that you all completely forget the bar you just went, or you don't create this connection with the place you are, and it's all about money, and that's why they have this competition. If you have the beer 80 cents and the other one next it's €1, people will go here because they don't want to create connections, they just want to get drunk. And yeah, that's it, to put into words. You can see that Lisbon is really like remodeling everything, because what's now part of the skyline is the gruas you see everywhere. That thing, you see, like wherever you are, you can see one of them. Like, so you know, Lisbon has construction sites like everywhere nowadays. It's part of the life.
For example, something that really bothers me, it's all these tissues around the city with reconstructions, and we know that these buildings will never be what they were again. So they are transformed in hotels, hostels, or something for the tourists, and that's really sad. I sometimes think about doing some paintings with like intervention words, because you are not spoiling the walls and you are irritating the constructors. I would paint something like quanto vão custar estes fogos? Well, it means how much are going to cost these houses. But in Portuguese, we have like a word which has two meanings. It's fogo. Fogo, it means fire, but also a house in architecture terms. So when you use that word, we are talking about what is going to cause the fires in Portugal, in our territory, what will be the consequences, and at the same time you are talking about these reconstructors that they reconstruct old houses and then they put prices like hell, and also the buildings are used to hostels.
When you see now the landscape of Lisbon, everything is more renovated, more beautiful to the eye and to the tourism gaze. But you see empty stores, empty buildings. We usually say that Lisbon now has a clean face, but at the same time, there's no people in it.
Com tripulação, atuar em celular para